Let's start in the West, where we've got the Avalanche winning in 4 over the Predators. The Avalanche are the top choice to win the Cup at plus 330 odds after finishing second to the Panthers in the President's Trophy race. They're the Central Division winners, with standouts Nico Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon on their top line. Of course, Darcy Kemper has also been a gem for the Avs this season, and they're catching a break from a Predators team that simply is not really that good. Their goalie, who's been really good for them throughout the season, Juuse Saros, suffered a late season ankle injury that could impact either his play or his status for this series. For that reason, I'm going to take the Avalanche in 4 games. Next up, we've got the Wild against the Blues in the 2-3 matchup in the Central Division. Wild had their offensive season in franchise history, which follows the overall narrative of the NHL this season. We had a lot of different things happen, from the COVID lockdown to no Olympic play. But offense was the overarching theme, as many teams broke their single season records or tied a record set back in the 80s when the league was much different. Kaprizov was great for the Wild this season with 47 goals, and Tarasenko was great for the Blues with 82 points himself, even though he requested a trade last off-season. Both of these teams ended the season very hot, but I'm going to have to take Minnesota. I think they're just too talented top to bottom, but I think this could be a great series. Give me Minnesota in 7 games. Then we've got Calgary against the Dallas Stars, and Calgary's just the better team from all points of view. Calgary rated top 3 in both offensive and defensive expected goals in the league, while in the 5-on-5, they've got Matthew Tkachuk and Gani Gaudreau, and had one of the league's top goalies in Jacob Markstrom. The Stars are a team that is very one-line oriented with Pavelski and Hintz, but ultimately I think that the power and the top-to-bottom nature of Calgary will power past the Dallas Stars in 5 games. We've got Edmonton against the Kings, and I'm going to make this one simple. The Oilers are just too powerful, with McDavid and Draisaitl carrying them, to even be tripped up by this Kings team that, quite frankly, is not the same without their star defenseman Drew Doughty. While a lot of their old players have come together for their first playoff run since 2018, I just don't see the Kings winning in this series. Moving on to the Eastern Conference, we've got the Panthers against the Capitals, and this one I've got going 5 games. Florida's just too high-powered, and Alex Ovechkin missed the last few games of a regular season, but it looks like he's going to play in this series. But if he's not 100%, Washington's in trouble. But the state of their goaltending and the Panthers' offensive prowess, I just think that Washington can't keep up in the long term with this star-studded Panthers team and President's Trophy winners. Next up, we've got the Maple Leafs against the Lightning, and of course the narrative in this series is that the Leafs haven't won a playoff series since 2004. They're favored in this one, but I'm going to take the Lightning. They just know how to get it done in the playoffs. They've got Kucherov, Hedman, Braden Point, of course, and I see them ultimately winning this series in 6 games. Moving on to the bottom of the bracket, we've got Carolina against Boston, and I could see this one going either way, and I know a lot of people will be picking this upset in favor of Boston, but I'm going to stick with a Hurricanes team that has their most successful season as a franchise, thanks to some outstanding goaltending by Frederik Eriksson, but he might not be able to make the difference in this series. Adding on to the narrative of this series is that the Bruins have eliminated the Hurricanes in 2 of the past 3 postseasons, and the Bruins have that core of Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, Dave Pastrnak, and McAvoy. I mean, I see the Bruins being a great pick here, but I'm just going to go with Carolina because I think they've shown that they're the better team. If they can avoid the goaltending troubles in this one, I think Carolina will win. Give me Carolina in 7. In the final series, we've got a Rangers team against a Pittsburgh Penguins team that is trying to make one final run with this Golden Era squad. I'm ultimately going to go with the Rangers here, and also the Penguins are dealing with some keeper issues after their regular one had a broken foot. So I'm just not really sure what will happen in this one, but I'm going to trust the Rangers front line with Panarin and Adam Fox to win this series. Moving on to the second round, I'm going to take the Avs over the Wild. I know the Wild finished the season on a torrid pace, but the Avs have just been the better team all year. That one's pretty simple for me there. And then in Battle of Alberta, I'm going to take Calgary again. They're just top to bottom team, very good. So give me Calgary to advance to the conference finals. On the Eastern Conference side, we've got a rivalry matchup between the Florida teams, but I've got the Lightning prevailing for two reasons. You've got the President's Cup curse. I already had Tampa Bay eliminating Toronto because, why am I going to pick a team that doesn't usually have playoff success? They're going to have to get the monkey off their back. The same thing is here with the Panthers. They're going to have to get the monkey off their back of being the President's Trophy winners and then having to make a Stanley Cup and win it. So I'm going to go with the Lightning, who have all the playoff experience in the world in this series. Then Carolina against the Rangers. I think this is a very risky pick, but I'm going with Carolina here. I think that their keeper issues will be solved by the time they make it to the second round, assuming they do. So I'm going to have them going to the Eastern Conference Finals. In these conference finals, I'm going to ride Colorado here, the favorites, and then I'm going to take Carolina to beat Tampa Bay. This is a very sketchy pick because I could easily see Carolina losing the first round, but I think that Carolina would win this series, as it almost seems like they're the underdog here, as nobody is talking about them despite them putting up the best season in their franchise history. Players play hard for Coach Brian DeMore, and I could really see this team making a Stanley Cup run here, but ultimately that's where I'm going to have to end it for them, as I'm going to have the Avalanche winning the whole thing. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and comment your Stanley Cup predictions below.